Hello again. It's another week, and this is another word with Dave. And this week, we're in 1 Samuel chapter 24, where King Saul is still chasing after David. And we're going to read from verse 1 to verse 12. After Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told David is in the desert of En-gedi. So Saul took 3,000 chosen men from all Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. He came to the sheep pens along the way. A cave was there, and Saul went in to relieve himself. David and his men were far back in the cave. The men said, "This is the day the Lord spoke of, when he said to you, 'I will give your enemy into your hands, for you to deal with as you wish.'" Then David crept up unnoticed and cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Afterward, David was conscience-stricken for having cut off a corner of his robe. He said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master. The Lord anointed or lift my hand against him, for he is the anointed of the Lord." With these words, David rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went his way. Then David went out of the cave and called out to Saul, "My lord, the king." When Saul looked behind him, David bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He said to Saul, "Why do you listen when men say David is bent on harming you? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord delivered you into my hands in the cave. Some urged me to kill you, but I spared you. I said, I will not lift my hand against my master, because he is the Lord's anointed. See, my father, look at this piece of your robe in my hand. I cut off the corner of your robe, but did not kill you. Now understand and recognize that I am not guilty of wrongdoing or rebellion. I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me down to take my life." Verse 12. May the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me, but my hand will not touch you. The word of the Lord. So the topic for today is overcome evil with good. Overcome evil with good. So again, Saul was chasing after David, and David could have killed him, but instead he just cut off a piece of his robe. And this shows us a couple of things here. One, it shows the patience of David. David could have easily caught Saul or do something to him, but he had patience. He waited, and he knew that this wasn't what God wanted. So for us too, we should also be patient and wait. Don't rush too much to do stuff. And I have that kind of personality as well, where I tend to rush and love to do things quickly. But recently the Lord has been showing me to just calm myself and listen and wait. It also teaches us to resist temptation. Again, during this time, David, he probably was tempted to kill Saul because of all what Saul was going on with. And in life, we're going to be tempted to do many things. We should trust God and resist these temptations and overcome evil with good. If men wrong us, God will right us. So Saul's men were saying all kind of lies and evil stuff against David, and it was impacting Saul. But David trusted God, and eventually David became king. And Saul even recognized that David would become king. If you read later down in the verse, Saul recognized that David was going to become king. And so we too should just, take our time, listen to God, not to be hasty to do stuff. And even if people are speaking evil against us, God will turn it out for good eventually. So let's overcome evil with good. Amen.